All right, let's get right into it. We're going to go deep underground today to explore two worlds that are completely hidden from view. One's a story of a crime so perfectly planned it became legendary. The other, it's about a hidden city, a place where the only plan is just making it through the day. So, what in the world connects a massive train robbery in the 60s to a community living under modern day Vegas? I know, it sounds totally random, right? But trust me, when you dig into it, you start to see this fascinating link. It's all about the systems we live in and what happens when you either choose to leave them or get pushed right out.
And that is the absolute key here. It's choice versus necessity. One group made a conscious decision, we're going to break the rules for a huge payday. The other group, well, they were forced so far to the margins that the world up top doesn't even see them anymore.
Okay, so let's set the stage for these two hidden worlds. First, we're talking about a wild heist in 1963 Britain. Then, we'll jump to right now and go down into the storm drains right under the Las Vegas Strip. So let's go back. It's August 8th, 1963. Imagine a Royal Mail train just chugging along between Glasgow and London. But this isn't just any train. It's carrying a fortune. We're talking the equivalent of over 67 million pounds today. And suddenly, it's stopped dead on a deserted track. No alarms, nobody around for miles. I mean, it is the perfect setup for a heist. Okay, now let's jump to today. We're in a completely different kind of shadow, right under the dazzling lights of the Vegas Strip. Down there are over 200 miles of flood tunnels. And for nearly 1,500 people, this isn't some temporary hideout. This is home, a permanent home with no sunlight. So, how do you survive in these two worlds? Well, in both cases, you need a plan. But the plans themselves, they are worlds apart. One's a blueprint for a single massive score. The other, it's a grind, a daily, moment-to-moment plan just to see the next day. I mean, just look at this. The level of detail is insane. This wasn't some spur-of-the-moment thing. They had an insider who told them which carriage had no alarm. They knew how to rig the railway signal with just a glove and a battery. They had a plan to uncouple the exact carriages they needed, force the driver to move the train, and had a whole human chain ready to unload 120 bags of cash. And to top it off, a farmhouse hideout all ready and waiting 43 kilometers away. This was planned down to the second. Okay, now let's flip that coin completely. The survival plan in the tunnels, it's not a step-by-step heist. It's a constant loop. Find water, scavenge food, and you better be ready to defend your little piece of territory, because someone will try to take it. You have to watch out for flash floods, which can give you as little as a 10-minute warning. You got to stay invisible, off the grid, and a bike, that's not a fun ride. That's your car, your lifeline. This isn't about getting rich. This is about not dying. It's that simple. This really gets to the heart of it all. Life outside the system. One group chose to jump out. The other was pushed.
2.5 million pounds. Back in 1963, that was an absolutely staggering amount of money. The motivation here couldn't be clearer, right? It was about getting so rich so fast that you and your family would be set for life. One big job, and then you're out of the rat race forever.
And then you have this quote from someone who actually lives in the tunnels. Everybody's like 2 paychecks away from being homeless. Wow. I mean, that just hits you, doesn't it? It's not about a fantasy of untold riches. It's about the cold, hard reality of how fragile normal life can be. It shows you how quickly that line can be crossed. And this is what being off the grid really means for them. A lot of the people down there have no official ID. And think about that. Without an ID, you can't get a job, you can't get an apartment, you can't get help, you basically don't exist in the eyes of the system. They live in a place so removed that police radios don't even work down there. They are truly, completely on their own. So you could say both groups are gambling, but what they're putting on the table and what they hope to win couldn't be more different. Let's really compare the stakes here. For the robbers, the risk was 30 years in prison, but the reward, generational wealth, a life of luxury. Now, for the people in the tunnels, the risk is death. Every single day. And the reward? It's not millions. The reward is just seeing tomorrow. And their biggest gamble is against Mother Nature herself. A flash flood? This isn't just a bit of water. We're talking a sudden, violent torrent that can fill these tunnels up to 8 feet high. And here's the terrifying part. It can be triggered by rain that's miles away, giving them just minutes to get out. That's on top of the constant threat of violence. It is an incredibly dangerous way to live, with absolutely no safety net. And this quote from someone living down there, looking up at the casinos. These big casinos aren't built on winners. It's just so powerful. It really captures the incredible irony of it all. They're literally living in the drainage system of a city built on the idea of striking it rich, a place where, as we all know, the house always wins. They are the living proof of that.
So let's talk about the final hand. How does this all play out? For one group, a tiny mistake becomes a legend. For the other, a lifetime of struggle just disappears.
So the robbers pull off this incredible heist. They're at their hideout celebrating, and what do? They play Monopoly with the actual stolen cash. But then they hear on a police radio that the search is getting close, so they bolt. But in their rush, they make a critical error. They leave the Monopoly board behind. And what do investigators find? Fingerprints all over the game board. That one slip up was everything the police needed. 14 of them were arrested and sentenced to 30 years.
Just think about that for a second. A single fingerprint left on a Monopoly board is what brought down this meticulously planned crime. The irony is just incredible. The perfect heist foiled by a board game about getting rich. It's so unbelievable, it's almost like a movie. And that's exactly why their story became this famous legend. They got caught, sure, but they also became immortal.
But for the people living in the tunnels, there's no single legendary event. There's no cinematic downfall. There's just a silent, invisible struggle. The tragedies that happen down there, the floods, the violence, they don't make headlines. When a life is lost, there's no investigation. The story, the person, they're often just washed away with the next storm. Forgotten. So it all comes down to this, really. One group broke the rules and became legends. The other group, they're forgotten by a system whose rules never worked for them in the first place. So I'll leave you with this question. Which world is truly hidden